The following episode is brought to you by Poison City Brewing, proud makers of Durban Poison Cannabis Lager, the beer that invites you to live your poison.
You know, the interesting thing is that when Meagan was while we were busy setting up and she was talking about the podcast and stuff, you know, that you guys have going, you know, how's that whole experience for you guys? You know, because you know, with my introduction to you guys is that you guys are musicians and stuff. So then, you know, going into the whole podcasting thing for you guys, how is that, you know, coming through from, you know, as artists initially and then jumping into the whole podcasting thing?
So I've been kind of running the podcast so far, and it it feels like it's been one of the most successful things so far. Like our music has done well, but I don't know, since starting the podcast, it feels like there's just a lot more community amongst artists that I've been able to find. Like people are really down to want to come on the show, and it's felt so easy in comparison to putting out music, and I'm kind of like, man, I needed this. But it's been a lot of fun. It's like we've wanted to create a community where we get to talk with other artists about what they're doing, you know, when doing the DIY musician thing and working from home and having other jobs, and it's definitely met that. So it's been so much easier to create a community. Whereas like with social media and stuff, that's been a lot more difficult. But this has been great so far. I tried to do a podcast with Kevin the other day, like 2 weeks ago, and we tried to do it live on Instagram while recording it, and it was terrible though. It absolutely sucked.
It was bad. Don't do a live podcast. Too much risk.
You know, and I think it actually goes hand in hand with what you guys say in your Instagram bio, actually, about, you know, supporting people and following their passions and stuff. I think one of the most interesting points about this whole thing is, you know, we understand what the deep talks is about. What is the whole poppycock thing? Like, what is that?
So that was my wife's idea there. So she actually came up with the name. And so poppycock is just like nonsense and tomfoolery. And one of our goals with this podcast was to just not be about just the deep stuff and the struggle of being an up and coming artist and doing it yourself, which I love to talk about. But my wife can kind of check out on that. And so we kind of decided together that she was going to be in charge of keeping things fun and asking the questions that like a non-musician person would ask, to keep things just like lighthearted and fun and have people enjoying coming on because they get to laugh. And so, yeah, that's definitely that side. And she is the best at it.
On that point that you just brought up there with working with your wife, dude, that is some amazing stuff, dude. Like, how is it working with your wife, dude? Like, not many people, like, I don't know many people who do that kind of thing. So yeah, dude, how is that for you?
It's been tough getting to this place. We've tried doing creative stuff together in the past, and we've had a lot of failures, I guess. A lot of things haven't worked, and it's been pretty difficult. But finally, we kind of landed on this one, and it seems to have worked really well so far. She wants to do voice acting, and so this is kind of an introduction for her into learning the setup of getting like all her mic stuff set up, getting good audio quality, and just being recorded. And so I think for her, it kind of aligns a lot more with what she's passionate about too, whereas some of the other stuff has been more my thing that I've just wanted help with. And so, yeah, this one's going good. It's been great so far.
Nice, dude. That is really awesome. Meagan.
I like that you brought up the community building aspect, because another way that I've found you're doing that is through Spotify playlists. I've seen that you've got one that's community generated and one that's actually built around your musical peers. Can you tell us more about that and how it's going, like in terms of support?
Yeah. So connecting with people over social media has been really difficult so far. We have a small group of people that consistently engage with our stuff, but I've just been constantly trying to seek out ways that we can just become more connected. And so I had the idea to one, reach out to the people who are engaged with our stuff just for the music that they like, and then putting it all in one place. That way, if everybody wanted to come in and kind of listen to what other people were listening to and find new music, they'd be able to. And then I wanted to create a playlist as well, for the artists that we meet along the way, who are smaller artists that not many people know about. That way, that people who are engaged with us, even if it's just a few people, they have a way to go and listen to these other artists who are in the same place and help build their streams up. And so that's kind of where both of those came from. The thing is, they don't have a lot of followers. It's been really difficult to get followers, but every now and then, like, I guess some people engage with them. Either way, like, I've had fun getting to create them and have that option for people to go to on our Spotify.
Yeah, and it's really fun to just support people that we actually know. Hugh and I actually met in California, and we were going to school there, and we just met a lot of people there who also happen to be artists, and we just love supporting those relationships, even though we don't get to like see them all the time, but we just love what they're doing. So like we just have friends from Argentina and, you know, a couple friends who live in Orange County and, you know, just kind of all over the place. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and for us, it's like, well, I guess for me, Kevin may be way more selfish. I don't know. For me, I can't imagine us getting to go further and to grow our band without bringing other people along, because that's kind of everything that we stand for, is hoping to inspire people to follow what they're passionate about. And so I think for us, that means that we have to shine light on the other people who are, I mean, they may have more followers than us, or they may have less, or, you know, they may have more streams, whatever it be. I can't see us going forward without doing our best to bring those people with us, or to help make them bigger artists as well, as we try to grow into that.
You know, on that point that you were touching on there, Kev, bro, you were mentioning, you know, Argentina, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys ever think that, you know, your guys' reach would ever go that far? Like, you guys would be able to reach people in other continents? I mean, we're right here in South Africa, and we're having this conversation right now. Is this something that you guys, you know, sort of saw coming, or is it sort of like, whoa, you know, out of nowhere?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, when Hugh just, he's just like, I can't remember if he texted me or he sent a voice message or something. I was just like at work, and he's like, yeah, these guys, they have a podcast. They're in South Africa. And I was like, whoa, what? Like, how did we make that connection? That was just like kind of threw me for a loop. And I mean, Hugh's always looking for connections, so it's not like entirely surprising. I mean, some of our like more international connections just came from going to school. So it's actually it's like a ministry school. It's kind of famous in California, and a lot of international students go there. So that's where we made a lot of those connections. And so I mean, that wasn't super surprising. Like I think maybe Hugh knew, but like I for sure knew going to the school that, like, I don't know, it's something ridiculous. Like 50% are international students. It's just like, it's like mostly international in a way. But I was not expecting to be on a South African podcast, no. But I was really stoked about it because I love your guys' accent. I could literally just sit here and listen all day.
Dude, and when you mentioned, you know, the whole international school thing, have you guys ever interacted or met someone from South Africa that side, or is this like a sort of first encounter?
Oh yeah. Lots of South African people there, actually.
Yeah.
Nice. That is
For sure. And like South Africans that are in leadership in the school.
whoa.
And yeah, so we there's one lady, her and her husband, her name was Libby, and me and my wife, we would just like always crack up because we'd be trying to like impersonate a South African accent, but we're terrible. We just she said the word exciting a lot, and it just like it cracked me up. I love the accent. I love the people. Like, I haven't been to South Africa, but like from what I can tell, like I enjoy the culture. They're like really positive people.
Yeah. No, that's really cool, dude. This is really amazing that we having this interaction. You guys have actually met South Africans before us. This is really cool.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how small the world can get.
it's wild.
I definitely did not think in the beginning that that a little guy from a small town in Alabama of like 200 people, and then Kevin from a really small town in Grove, Oklahoma.
Yeah, there's like 7,000 people here total. It's ridiculous.
Who knew? I just thought it'd be our moms. I just thought our moms would listen to our music, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I was gonna be happy with that.
Just touching on you guys being Lost Boys, let's just get the first, like, initial thing out of the way. The actual name, Lost Boys. Are you guys actually lost? Like, what happened?
Well, apparently not anymore, because we've been found all the way in South Africa. So
yeah, right. It's gonna be Found Boys. We have to change the name now.
Found Boys.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, right.
Found Boys. So it was just a couple of weeks ago. It was just Lost Boy, because I kicked Kevin out of the band, but we can save that for a different.
We'll save that. Yeah.
Maybe a little later. But no, we sat down when we decided we were going to become a band. We sat down for one evening with like 5 people and came up with 100 names, and none of them were Lost Boys. And then our friend messaged us the next day, and he's like, "What do you think about this?" And we were like, that actually kind of fits our vision with what we want to do. If you're looking at it from the Peter Pan side and kids not wanting to grow up, that's kind of where we got that from. But I feel like we're kind of lost right now because we're in so many different places, like between me and him, and then we started in California, and it's like it's been hard to keep some traction when you're in a bunch of different locations.
Basically, our friend, who's kind of like more or less our band manager, like he doesn't have like a lot to do with the musical side, but like he helped us kind of brainstorm like what it might take to be a band, and just like really helped us along the way. His name's Rabe Rodella. He's a good guy.
Shout out to Rabe.
Shout out to Rabe.
Yeah, shout out to Rabe.
Love this guy. And he's like a huge fan of just like Peter Pan and like the story. So like he just, basically like, what do you guys think of that? And I was like, yeah, like, I mean, I've had this dream for a really long time of just, being in music full time. And just like as a child, like before I could even play instruments, I would kind of just like hear these symphonies in my head where I would just kind of like think about what it would be like to record. And Hugh has had similar dreams since he was a kid. And so, when we finally decided to make it official and make it a band, it was like, oh, like Lost Boys kind of makes sense. It's very like childlike and childlike wonder towards music and that like kind of attitude. And just never, I guess part of the motto is to never to find yourself like at the end of your rope, like just always continually being lost, like always having questions, and just letting music be this mysterious thing that it is and how it brings people together, and just never truly just finding, the end of your rope or something like that, or, coming to a place where like, oh, like I get it now, like just choosing to be lost, but in a good way.
That's why we've kept it, because the name honestly kind of sucks.
because partially because it's like a lot of other people like have already used it.
It's so oversaturated.
Yeah, it is oversaturated, but it made a lot of sense. So like we were just game to move forward with it, and we're like, whatever, like we're just you have to have a name at some point. You just have to stick with it. Like if you think about it, most names actually suck if you take the context of their success out. It's just like Google. Like, what the heck is that? Like, if you just like take all the success out of that story, it's like that's just like a weird name.
For us, it's just oversaturated though. You have like the 80s movie Lost Boys, and then you have anything that ever has to do with Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And then you had
that's the downside.
What's her name? Like Ruth B or something did the Lost Boys song, or Lost Boy. That got really famous, 6 years ago or something like that. And so if anyone searches us on any social media, it's like we're way down there.
You know what I like though? I like the fact that you guys, the name means something to both of you. And, I feel like it's like you say, dude, it's what comes with the name that's important and stuff. So, before I even pass on to Meagan, I must say, Kevin, dude, your cat is the cutest thing ever, bro. I don't know if it's him, if it's he or she, but it was like going outside there hunting, bro, looking all hardcore and everything. Shout out.
Really? Oh yeah, Jack. It was probably Jack. Jack the cat.
Jack is basically a band member.
He really is. He's so cute. I love him. He's a feisty cat. He usually hangs out in the studio with me, and like he's just good to have around because he makes me like not take things too seriously. Like he'll be like laying on my gear and like just like sitting on my speakers, and like he'll come just like sit on my laptop and like kind of like break me out of like my super focus driven, and just like he keeps it lighthearted.
I think he's been a part of almost every song that we've done as Lost Boys so far when we've been together, because he'll run into the studio and just be on everything. And so we pretty much consider him a part of the band now.
Yeah.
We want to figure out a way to incorporate him some way.
Pretty much. He's a mascot. He's the mascot.
Yeah, he's the mascot.
It's basically not a hit if Jack isn't there. It's not a hit, like, at all.
No.
Needs to be there.
Hands down. Can't. Oh yeah.
That's the only reason people listen to us.
for the cat. Dude, when we do our first music video, Jack needs to be in it.
100%. We're trying to figure out ways to bring him into it at some point without just, in a semi-serious way, but also funny. It's like, we want to have him in.
You know what's weird to think about, actually, is that like you're originally from Alabama, and obviously I'm originally from Oklahoma, but Jack is technically a Californian cat because that's where we got him.
It's true.
It's like a full circle. Represents all three places, all three band members. It's no longer a duo; it's a trio.
Well, I was gonna ask, how do you break a tie, considering you're a duo? But maybe now the cat plays a little bit of a part in the decision-making process. But how do you manage to actually like agree on almost, everything in terms of being able to work together without that third party being able to mediate?
I mean, Rabe, our friend, was has been a mediator for like a good bit of it. Like, he's not like directly involved in making the music, but like sometimes we bring him in. We're just like, what do you think? And he's just like a very business-minded person, so he just has a different perspective. And like a lot of the times, like another tiebreaker will be one of our wives, for sure. And we're always asking them their opinions and stuff. But like, I mean, just like the music stuff, I mean, Hugh and I pretty much hash that out, just us two. And it's a lot of give and take. Like, it's just like any other relationship. Like, you just pick your battles, Like, what hill am I willing to die on? And so far, we haven't had like really any conflict in that area. And then in terms of like social media and like just anything else outside of the music, I pretty much let Hugh run all of that. I just don't have as much of an interest. Like, I like interaction and stuff like that, but like it's not one of my strong suits, is like the media area. Like, I just really love doing the music stuff.
Yeah, Kevin and I, in the very beginning, we decided that we were going to be music married.
Yeah, music married.
And so we just started viewing our music kind of like a marriage, whereas whenever we come up against something, we got to figure out a way to work it out, and we got to figure out a way to see each other's sides and make whatever it is that we have work. And and that's kind of helped us, because we've had conflict and stuff and different opinions on things, but I think that's kind of what ends up making our music what it is that we decided that we're going to figure out how to make it work.
And one of the reoccurring themes, unfortunately, it's like one of our like most common, like, I don't know if it's really an argument, but it's just like a point of contention, because we'll have like started, just on a song, like a demo or whatever, and we'll be going through it, and I just have like this spark, this like idea. I'm like, oh my gosh, this whole song can be taken in a completely different direction. And he was like, no, like, we need to stick with it. We're never going to finish this thing. And a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of the times he just kind of like lets me have it. And I'm just like, let me just try to take this in a different direction, just to see. And it usually turns out like really awesome. It's just like a hunch that I have about something. And, like a lot of our demos probably sound nothing like what the end result is. Oh, yeah. But I mean, I think that's fun. I like going on that journey. Sometimes Hugh's not always down for it, but that's okay, because like, you know, it's a duo. I mean, if like I've just made all the decisions or something like that, like it would just be no fun. There would be no personality in it.
Just hundreds of lyrics later, we're going to change the song,
Yeah.
you know, after I've fleshed out
Yeah,
like
I have a bad habit.
chapters of lyrics and finally landed on something. We just change everything. It's fine. We make it work.
It's fine. But Hugh can't ever say that it doesn't turn out great because it does.
It does. I have to trust him.
I would like to know about the fight.
Yeah, so I kicked Kevin out of the band. Good riddance, I said. And but I found out, you know, we had some good conversations. But yeah, honestly, Kevin's really just the worst. And it was building for a long time. You know, I just said the music married thing, but I was like, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna have to move out for a little while. Well, I mean, Kevin's gonna have to move out for a little while.
Move out of our theoretical house.
Live in some separate places for a little while because, I mean, he was just doing things like he wouldn't let me pick out the kind of gum I wanted at the store. Whenever we would go to like Walmart or something, he'd be like, I'm like, I need some gum that I can chew while we're recording. He'd be like, no, you can't have that gum. And I'd be like, why? Why can't I have spearmint? And he's like, I don't like spearmint. And I'm like, well, are you gonna chew this gum? And he's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, well, why can't I just have it? So he's always doing stuff like that. And he's like hiding my kombucha bottles.
Okay, that's actually true.
And like dumping them into different cups.
I do hide his kombucha.
Yeah. He's like, he'll dump it in another cup and then he'll hide it somewhere in the house. And he's just,
For anybody who can't tell, this is partially satirical. Just in
Well,
case you really didn't get that.
I think that's left to the audience to decide.
Oh my
It's open
gosh.
for interpretation.
Oh yeah, that's the idea.
And then, like he already admittedly said before, he likes to change the songs at the very end. So I was just like, you know what?
It's true.
I am the face of this band. I am Lost Boys, myself. So I'm just going to kick this guy out. And so I did. And then he started hacking into our Instagram accounts
It was nice.
and just screwing up everything that I had lined up. So I was like, I got to talk to this guy.
I actually messaged his wife from our Instagram account pretending to be him. It was really fun. That was actually really fun.
That almost went bad.
That almost went south.
Yeah. She messages me some fairly inappropriate things over Instagram sometimes. And I'm like, don't message me this on here. This is our band account. You're going to mess this thing up. And so, yeah, so he's already been trying to get with my wife.
Oh my
And
gosh. That's going to be like edited out of context.
yeah, no, that's our new song now. Anyway, I have a ton to say about that, but those were some of the top reasons.
Oh, the highlights. Definitely the gum.
We did go back and I looked at the papers from when we started a band, and it said that if Johnny Knox, our friend Johnny Knox, said that Kevin needed to be back in the band, then he had to be back in the band no matter what. And I messaged Johnny Knox, and he said Kevin needs to be back in the band, and I was like, all right. So we called each other up and we worked things out for now.
Like I had some of my family members legitimately ask me if this was serious. It was like I actually at my day job I work with my older brother, and he just like leaned over like he was on his phone. He was just like, dude, like, is this for real? Like, did he really kick you out of the band? I was like, no, not at all. I mean, I guess he kind of did, but I mean, whatever. I'm back, so
He's back.
No hard feelings.
I think we need to build a statue in sort of, just acknowledging the sheer brilliance and awesomeness of Johnny Knox. I mean, if it weren't for him,
Yeah,
we wouldn't be here.
dude, a statue of Johnny Knox, that'd be a good looking statue. He's one spicy looking man.
Oh yeah, we'd have to hide all our moms.
Yeah.
They'd just be around that statue like 24/7.
Hey, Johnny Knox is a good looking guy. Really is.
You guys mentioned, Hugh, you brought up your wife as well when it came to, the podcast, and Kev, you also brought up your wife as well and whatnot. How much of an influence do your wives have on Lost Boys itself?
Good question. I mean, like, we bring them questions all the time. Like, I don't know. I guess that, like, we'll just, like, show them demos or something like that. I was like, is this good or does this, like, suck? And so, I mean, I guess I actually have, like, a fair bit, like, and especially on, like, aesthetic stuff. Both our wives are, like, very aesthetic driven. So, like, things that we talk about merch. This is like maybe I guess the first time we've hinted at this, but like we've talked about merch. Like we have like some stuff in the works, and so we just like go over designs and stuff like that, and they have like much more strong opinions about that than they do the music. But sometimes it's really good because neither of them are like technically musicians. Like, you know, Brittany sings, so does Jenny, but it's not like something they like pursue big time. So they have a good like perspective on just like just a generalized listener. So it's really easy to bring stuff like that to them, you know, just making sure that our music doesn't get like too nerdy or out there or like unrelatable, I guess.
Brittany, every now and then, if I'm struggling with some lyric stuff, I'll bring it to her and be like, I don't know, does this make sense? Is this good? Like, how does it feel?
Yeah.
Like the feeling of how the lyrics are sung, and she's really brutally honest with me a lot of times, and it's really helpful because there's sometimes I think I'm gonna change everything like lyrically, and she's like, no, the feeling is right. And then I've tried to get Kevin to write on some of our stuff as well.
Not a lyricist.
And he wrote this one part for a song that we haven't put out, and he sent it back to me, and I was like, I don't really know. You know, I wasn't so sure about it because to me it didn't make sense. And then I showed it to Brittany, and she's like, no, that makes a lot of sense. And then she explained to me why. And I was like, man, I really never would have thought about it that way, but I know so many other people would have. So I really valued her input on that.
I'm actually struggling to figure out which song you're talking about. I almost never write lyrics for anything for us.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was either.
But every now and then I have like a small little insert, like a little, you know, 2 lines or something like that just kind of pops into my head. That's usually what it's like. Not like writing like full verses or anything like that. Never do that.
Won't you take me by the hand? It's just a walk across the sand. You can trust me if I can. So won't you take me by the hand?
Kevin had just sent me a text and we were joking. We were like, we kind of really hope that it pops back up and it just like is a still sign that says you guys suck. Like,
yeah.
No more podcasts or something.
Yeah, like ghost us, just don't send us the re-invite.
Yeah, you never send us the link again. It just ends.
Yeah, but I mean, just sort of like, you know, jumping back into this, you know, you were in the interim playing, you know, Trust, and I understand that there is like a deeper, you know, like a very deep story behind this. In actual fact, I think, you know, instead of just spoiling the story, because I did see, you know, the YouTube video and everything like that, I think it would be best coming from the source itself. So, you know, what is sort of behind, you know, the actual song Trust?
Well, hey, I appreciate you watching the video. That means a lot.
Yeah.
So Trust was our first song, so it has a pretty deep meaning there. Kevin, do you want to go ahead and start, and then I'll kind of finish up with the lyrical part?
Oh, yeah, just kind of like, I guess, how it started.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it was pretty much shortly after we kind of agreed that we wanted to be a band, but like, we're like, let's be a band, but neither of us just had a clue to really do how to do anything. I didn't even have a laptop. I had zero gear. Like, I had guitar gear because like I already that was my main instrument beforehand. And Hugh had a laptop and like an early version of Logic Pro, and so we would mess around on that. And then I think we were sitting in my apartment, just messing around, and he was showing me just like song ideas, like some that he had like done on like just his voice recording, just like him and his guitar. And he had played this cool like the opening like guitar line is something that Hugh had written, and he was playing that for me, and he had that like first verse, kind of second verse like melody, everything. And I was just sitting there with my electric guitar, like didn't know how to do anything else production wise, not a clue how to make anything else happen. And I just played a guitar line after he finished that. And like, we talked about like what chords could go there. And we were like, oh, that could be like a chorus. And, I mean, it just kind of took off from there. Like it was that electric guitar line that just kind of like birthed the rest of the song, which was really fun. And that whole song is just basically our first time experimenting with like other instruments. Like I literally didn't know how to play anything else. I was just like figuring out how to program synths and drums and everything. Like that song is basically just our very first foray into anything. I mean, it has more layers of depth beyond that because we revisited the song later. Like it sat for a while, like the very first iteration of it. And then like after I had become more learned, I came back to it and just added some additional layers. And then our mixer helped out, and he did a little bit of the instrumentation at the end as well. And like that song is just like our first foray into just everything outside of just playing the guitar and writing a song, because like we didn't know how to do vocal chops, like nothing at all. We're very uneducated, but it was a fun song. It was, one that we hold very dear to our hearts, and it's great to look back on because I think it still holds up. I still love it a lot, even though it was like one of the first times I tried to create it.
Yeah. So it definitely has that emotional attachment of being the first one of us figuring out how to do something together. But like Kevin said, we sat on it for a long time, and I had that initial part written. And then we were revisiting it. I think we had just come up with the ending vocal chop, which was a fun story in of itself, just figuring that out. And Kevin told me that I needed to write a second verse for it. And I had this song for a long time already. And so I was like, oh man, I don't even know if I can do that. I feel burnt out on this one already. And but I did because I trusted him. So I started writing another one. And I remember I was just riding in the car one day and I started listening to this song, and I had just gotten the news that this little girl that I had just met not very long ago, who was sick, had passed away. And it was just, there was this odd combination of that song playing at the same time, where I just, in my mind's eye, I just saw this little girl, and it felt like she was okay and safe, and it really just opened up a whole new meaning for the song to me that I had not had prior to that. And now I can't listen to that song without seeing that every time. And so it added a whole new meaning than the song initially started out for, that has made it really emotional for me, and a connection that I would have never expected when we started out with it.
And what would when it comes to the more emotional aspects of it, with you mentioned the little girl and whatnot, I think just some insight on who she was, and of course she's a little angel right now. And for you, how did you meet her? What's sort of the background story behind her?
Yeah, so yeah, not a lot of people know this. I had known her aunt growing up for a while, but I had then since moved to California, and she had gotten sick. The little girl got sick and had cancer, a type of cancer, and had been battling that for a while. And they had come over, and I just happened to hear about it through the little girl's aunt, I believe. And we got together, and they were just seeking healing for the little girl, and they had come out there because they had heard about some stuff going on out there that they just, in desperation wanted to try. And I met up with them because they weren't familiar with the area, and I just got to spend the entire day with them and this little girl who was battling this cancer. And so the relationship, the time that I had known her was very short, but it made a really significant impact on my heart, because I really honestly truly believed that she was going to get better, that she was going to get healed, and then she didn't. And it's really really sad. It's really hard to lose anyone, but it's really hard to see a child go, especially if you've had any type of relationship with that child.
Yeah, dude. I think, even when you talk about, the whole story and what sort of motivated, the second verse and whatnot, bro. Like, it's you can just feel the emotion, bro, in your voice. And I think even when you listen to the track as well, it's like it's very genuine. And I think that's something special. If an artist is able to sort of, send these kind of signals, and for you to be able to just hear and feel the emotion behind whatever it is that they write, dude. I think it takes something special to do that. So shout out to you.
I'm wondering if there are any similar stories with your other songs in terms of revisiting them, or like, do you have quite a long period between starting and finishing a song, or are you the type of people who maybe get it done quickly and then leave it? So is Trust maybe an anomaly, or is there more?
I would say, like, just from experience of watching Hugh write that, I think most of that EP was like long-winded in terms of the writing process. So it started out and then we revisited it. But there's an interesting contrast. The music that we're writing lately is becoming where it's being pumped out quicker. Like, we have a lot of projects in the work right now, and Hugh is becoming an increasingly better writer, like quicker. So he's just like, he just pumps like full songs out. Like, I just send him like a tiny little demo, and it just like the whole thing pumps out, and that's great too. But that whole EP, pretty much all of it had been revisited at one point. Partially because we were kind of unsure of ourselves. Like, we would make a first iteration of a song and we were like, is this good? Like, I don't know. And we just let it sit until we learned more about our craft, and then revisit it and kind of like upgrade it. But then there came like a breaking point where it's like, well, we should probably just like go ahead and release this, because we're not just going to keep making iterations of everything and tweaking everything, because it'll never end eventually.
Yeah, I think that we revisited every song significantly, but the ones that didn't get revisited as much was Before 23
Yeah.
and Budapest.
Pretty
There
much.
there were additions to it, but we changed all the other songs, the remaining three, a lot from how they originally started out for the most part.
It's very interesting that you mentioned Budapest on there, because I think it's sort of, I think it's a prime example of how, just from my perspective, that Lost Boy is, I'd say, versatile in a way, because you'll find basically a song like Trust, which has, like a deep emotional meaning to it, and then you'll get Budapest, which, when Hugh was saying, in the video, that it's sort of like you guys were taking a risk, when it comes to the way or the creativity that went into Budapest, and it wasn't really like anything, or it goes against everything that that Hugh believes in when it comes to songwriting and all that there. Can we sort of expect the kind of approach that you guys took on Budapest, in any of your future, stuff, or was it just sort of like a once-off sort of attempt?
Yeah, so there's actually one right now that has a very similar style to that.
Wait,
It's
hold on.
still
Which one? Explain it to me.
it's it's Kevin sent me this one. It's called 80s Pop Demo is what
Oh
he
yeah,
sent me.
it would just like we just name like random stuff until we like the last thing we do is probably name the song.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to find them then. And I sat down with that song one night and just had
It's so good.
a similar way to what Budapest was. The more melody with some words came to my head, but a lot of times I'll put down those ideas and then I'll change the lyrics and stuff later, because a lot of them they won't really make sense in the beginning. It'll just be like the phonetics of how it sounds.
That's my favorite.
And this one just came out and I'm like, no, this one feels the same. It feels like I need to leave it like this, and I need to lean into that uncomfortability of the lyrics not fully making sense or people not getting it, because that's my tendency, is to want to over explain things. And I'm like, no, I need to lean into this because the feeling is right. And so I'm excited about that one, but we haven't started mixing it yet.
Dude, I wish we could play them like a little demo of that right now. It's so good.
Dude.
It's literally so good.
We have it on our Patreon.
So I want to know, considering you have started experimenting lyrically with the phonetics of it rather than the semantics of it, how important are the lyrics, or are you kind of maybe using the vocal as its own instrument?
The lyrics are extremely important to me, probably too important at times.
I'm like on the other side.
Which is why it's really great to have someone like Kevin on board who can help me focus on the melody and using the vocal more as an instrument.
I just want to feel it.
He has really good opinions about that, and in the beginning, I think we had to figure out how to communicate that with each other.
Yeah, we're more comfortable now for sure.
But a lot of times I want to fit way too many words and way too many explanations into our songs, because I really do care deeply, and a lot of my bigger influences, that's kind of the impact I've had from them, is that I get it, I can understand. It's not, I like interpretation, don't get me wrong, I really do. But I also like when I can understand the feeling, because it impacts me deeper, and that's kind of what I want to be able to do with lyrics a lot.
So that's kind of like surrendering the authority of the author and kind of allowing a multitude of meanings and interpretations to be explored. I like that, because that makes work a little bit more timeless.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
you can come back to it and you can read your lyrics again or listen to your song again, and you can almost attach it to something new that you are experiencing now, even though you wrote it so long ago. Are there any archived tracks? Are there any hidden ones that you just haven't revisited yet, or maybe they're close to the trash?
Oh, we got a lot of those.
Yeah, a lot. I think we sat down the other day, and I mean, I would dare say, just in total project ideas that we've sent back and forth, it's probably pushing 50, but
Maybe.
ones that are closer to potentially being something is somewhere probably around 10 or so. And one of the cool things that we're working to do right now is that we just started a Patreon account. And one of the things that we're going to do for one of our tiers is to upload a lot of those on there. And whoever becomes patrons will be able to help us, kind of pick which ones they like the most and which ones we can actually work on to get out. Because if not, it's kind of left up to us. And so depending on what season of life we're in, we like different ones more. And so we start working on those. And then these other ones that are great ideas kind of get put on the back burner for a little while.
That was the most natural Patreon plug I've ever heard. Like, no shame. None. That was perfect.
Well, I wanted to figure out a way for people to engage with those songs.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was really excited about that, because there are a lot of really good stuff that it's like, well, we're not really entirely sure where to take this, because it's like, otherwise it'd just be like a super short idea or something like that. But they're good, so I'll just have a place for people to enjoy those is exciting.
What makes you decide, okay, this is gonna make it into the EP, or is there a criteria that you have? And do you ever get the itch to just release a beat tape, like have it
Yeah
unmixed, unmastered, whatever, beat 1_7?
Yeah, right. That's interesting. I've thought about stuff like that. I guess legitimately the criteria is, in my head, and this is just like a totally personal thing, but if I can listen to it and shut my eyes, and I can think about playing it live and I'm enjoying myself, then I know it's good.
Yeah, I'm a little more loose with it. I think I'm constantly pushing us to put stuff out, probably a little too early. We had this song that we've worked on that we've had for a long time. It's called Spring Cleaning, and
Oh my god, not that
and we
song.
finished it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The thing is, like, outside of it being fully mixed, we finished it, and this was back in spring when it would have been appropriate to put it out with the meaning of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we got to put this out, dude. It's done. Like, we got to get this. And Kevin's just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not feeling it.
I'm just like a feelings person, like, and sometimes to a fault, but I was like, it's just, I don't know. But I'm learning to not just like take that quite as seriously and just kind of be like early on artists, like, and so all of our inspirations are like for the most part, like, have big followings. And so like their stuff is very curated. And sometimes I forget that like our stuff doesn't have to be so curated. Like we just need to have people be interested and just follow us along for the journey. And that can be all right too. So.
And we understand that we both say this all the time, that we haven't written our best music yet. Sometimes we'll go back to our other stuff and we'll be like, man, that was so good. Is what we're doing this good yet? And we're like, yeah, no, like we haven't. We're constantly gonna
It's true.
Write songs that we think are better. And so much of the marketing stuff that I listen to, they're just like, create content
It's true.
and put it out. And I'm like, Kevin, we got to put these songs out. Like we got to finish them.
I get so picky about it. So like, I guess you could say that like, I was like, oh, like I close my eyes and like I think about it, and like if I'm vibing to it and like thinking about a live setting and I'm enjoying it, that's what it's like good for me. And that like sounds kind of loose, but like in a weird way, it's almost kind of strict. Like if I'm not like really enjoying it, then I don't want to put it out. But that's like something I'm working on, not being so strict about that. Because I just want everything we do to be like really, really good.
So, like, would you guys say this would then be the part where I think you guys said it was Gabe? I think it's your mate. Is that when he sort of comes in? When you consider the fact that maybe there might be a song that Kevin doesn't really want to be released, but he was like, "Yo, dude, we need to release this." Is that when the homies come in and the wives step in? Like, how do you guys decide?
Yeah, I'd say they definitely have influence on stuff like that. Maybe they could have more influence, and that would like probably help Hugh and I. I say they definitely put their opinions in, but maybe it would actually be a good idea to give them like more of the reins on something like that, because then stuff probably would come out faster. Because ultimately somebody gives us opinions and Hugh and I decide, but like we get like really indecisive about that kind of stuff, or just like at a crossroads.
Yeah.
So like maybe giving somebody else even more power over that like might be good for us.
Do you think maybe things like the algorithm and release platforms and social media platforms maybe give us unnecessary or limiting like constraints, considering things like you have to choose, you have to make certain choices from, is my handle available on this Instagram, to should I make shorter songs, or do I have to consider this as a single instead of an album because I'm shooting for playlists? So do you think that influences your creativity much?
Yeah, I think it does, because it's about getting that engagement, and it takes a different strategy now, to get people to engage with stuff. I think that with social media, it's just a lot of stuff is unnecessarily difficult for some stuff, and then other places are a little bit easier. But I think it makes it really difficult for DIY artists who are trying to figure out how to do it on their own. I think it's difficult to be able to do that. I see why people get paid to run social medias and to pitch playlists and do stuff like that, because it's just constant going and trying to figure it out and figuring out what people engage with best and what looks best to new people coming in, and then having to engage with the current fan base that you have. But it's not fully discouraging, because we are also in a place where we can do that. We don't have to hire people on anymore, which is really exciting. So it's doable. It's a learning curve, in my opinion, but it does give us the option to be able to figure out how to do it on our own, which is really exciting to me.
How constructed are your visuals and your aesthetic, considering there's sort of this balance between being able to free flow and still having to present a brand, so to speak.
Yeah, that's where Rabe came in really handy at the beginning. Is he had a lot of opinions on trying to help us prepare for the future, aesthetically and brand wise. We're running out of content now that we get to use, so it's a lot harder to create things. So we kind of been leaning more into just as natural as it can be, like pictures from our studio, and it's not as aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, we definitely tried to plan a lot of that out. A lot of our ideas for some of the stuff on our YouTube channel has been more just random ideas, and then we try to make them look as cohesive as possible. But we care a lot about that as much as we can pull off at this moment in our career.
Yeah, and it's just kind of hard because like we live like I don't know, what do you say? He was like a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, about a 10-hour drive away. So it's like pictures with both of us in it are like a little bit rare for right now. And I think both of us have like super busy seasons of life right now. But I think both of us would like to do some more traveling back and forth. And we've done quite, like, I guess Hugh's done more traveling here than anything so far. But we still like go see each other.
But I do think the aesthetic stuff is cool. I think the visual side it intrigues me so much, because you have bands like the White Stripes, for instance, who they really captured that like white and red and black kind of look for so much of their for so many of their albums, and you see those things and you think about those bands. And so it's, to me, I get intrigued because it's a whole nother side of how to capture people and bring people in, and also to be creative and to get to create something visually with that speaks outside of the music, but also, I guess, alongside with it as well.
Just going back to the mention about imagining this music being performed live. Have you performed live together, or do you have plans? Is that something that maybe the global situation has hindered?
Yeah, we haven't played together live yet. We've both played.
We really want to.
We really want to. Yeah, we both played live separately a lot. But we haven't gotten to yet. Moving has been a big part of that. Because we moved from California and then we separated again and came back to our hometown. So that's been a part of it. And then obviously with the pandemic hitting and things getting closed down. But we're kind of in the works right now of trying to plan something for potentially early December with the local band here in my city, Huntsville, called Luke and Jay. So we're looking to kind of work with them and try to plan something, because we love playing live. I really, really like playing live, and I'm so excited to get to finally like show these songs to a public setting.
Yeah,
where
it'd be
we
so
get to
fun.
just fully throw that emotion in there.
One of Hugh's big inspirations is a band called Switchfoot, and more notably their frontman John Foreman. And he's just like, if you ever watch that guy live, he's like so into it. And so I can't wait to do something live, because I know he was just going to be like the sickest frontman ever.
Yeah, one of my biggest dreams is to crowd surf. And
Yeah.
there's been opportunities for me to do it at other people's concerts. And I'm like, no, I will not do it at someone else's. I'm going to do it at my own.
Yeah.
I'm going to have people in the front catch me.
Yeah. It'll be great.
We're speaking about the future now, and you guys are mentioning wanting to play gigs together and all that there. One of the things that you guys actually mentioned in one of your bios is that you guys are a featured Grammy Award-winning band. And that is really huge. Like, there's two aspects to this question in terms of, what is it that makes you guys feel that, what the stuff that we're doing is worthy of a Grammy one day? And question number two is, would you guys say then, by saying that in your bio, do you guys basically mean that, the Grammys are sort of the holy grail for, artists or the artists, in 2020?
I think a lot of people dream about what it would be like to win a Grammy. I mean, if you really want, I know different people have different goals with music, but to me, I'm like that would be pretty awesome to be nominated for one of those things. I feel like it was one of those. It's one of those things that we want to believe because we are actually really serious about our music, but also it's like we kind of have this saying too that we want our music to suck, and that for some reason sometimes people just jump on that stuff that sucks, you know? And so I think, if we had the opportunity for someone just to jump onto that, even if it was like and so we kind of like to ride that balance of joking and serious. Like that it definitely is a real dream, but also it's more just like, yeah, we're just gonna do this one day. So you better wait around for it.
Yeah, well, I think just like winning awards would be awesome, but uh, I think that was maybe more of an intention when we started, just being kind of like younger and just more like idolizing it. Um, but now I'm just like, yeah, if we could just have like a legit following of just like people who really enjoy our stuff that'll just like follow us through our career, like I'd just be equally as happy as notoriety as just people really enjoying and being able to latch on for like a long period of time.
Yeah.
That's kind of more of a goal right now, anyways.
And we'll probably never win a Grammy,
You never know.
but it's one of those things like we want to believe that we can make it as far as we want to go. And so we kind of decided right now, while we have such a small following, why not just make our bio say something so like
Just have some fun.
outrageous and so big and so in a way cocky, but we're really not,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where that came from.
One of the interesting things too that like I think kind of like brought me down to like being more level-headed about something like the Grammys is that like we both individually and collectively like some of like the same artists and some different artists that we think are like incredible, but haven't necessarily like won a Grammy or been nominated, or at least that we don't know of. There's like it's like you just come across like a random artist, like, man, these guys are incredible. Like, how do not more people not know them or something like that? I was like, yeah, that could happen. At least if we, and if we have like a successful career and we're able to transition over and provide for our families through music, like that would probably be like a goal that we would shoot for first, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I know it definitely makes a lot of sense, guys. Before we even close out, I have one last question, and that's something that basically Kevin said in one of the videos that you guys had out, and that you're more creative, in the nighttime, in the evening. It's sort of, that's when all the creative juices sort of come through and all that. Would you guys say most of the hits that you guys have and the music that you guys make are sort of created in the evenings as opposed to maybe during the day? Like, what is the insight on all that there?
Kevin always sends me songs at like 12:30 or 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's true. I stay up late.
He's been working on them later. So I feel like he does that a lot. I definitely have had my time with that. But funny for me is that I actually write at work a lot, melodies in my head and lyrics. And some of, actually throughout the EP and a lot of our newer stuff, all the ideas have come to me while I'm at work, like mowing grass or something. And it's always the worst timing because I have to like do it on my voice memos, but I'll be like cutting a yard. So I'll have to sing it over and over again, or I'll be like driving to the next location.
Trying to remember it.
Yeah. And then I have to go home and I'll have to track the idea or something later.
Yeah, I tend to stay up pretty late doing that stuff, and I have like, I don't know what this thing is. It's like some type of drive to like arrive at a place. So like, even if I started working on an idea at like 7, and it's not like to like a decent enough place that it's usable for Hugh, like I'll just keep working on it, and I don't really care like how long it takes. Like, I've been up till like 2 in the morning or something like that. I'd still go to work the next day and just make it work out. But I just really, when the juices are flowing and like I'm really into it, like I just don't stop until it's done.
Dude, I'm exactly the same. Trust me, dude. Like late nights.
Yeah.
that's just when all the creative juices are flowing and everything.
Totally.
Even when I've got work the next morning.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I can definitely relate.
Oh, yeah.
Dudes, we're gonna have to close out now. Just, where can people get in touch with you guys if they want to, listen to the music, get in touch with you guys on social media? This is the time.
Yeah, so we're obviously on all the streaming platforms where you listen to music as Lost Boys. We have YouTube as Lost Boys Official, Instagram as Lost Boys Official Music, Facebook Lost Boys Music, Twitter Lost Boys Music, and TikTok as Lost Boys Official. So there's a few variations there. We're trying to work it all out with the usernames, but yeah, you can find us there, Lost Boys something. You may have to scroll a long way, but we're on there.
That is solid, guys. And obviously, if you're tuning in, probably listen to this on Apple Podcasts and also SoundCloud. We are Sludge Underground Podcast, Spotify as well, Sludge Underground Podcast, Facebook at Sludge Underground, Instagram at Sludge Underground, and Twitter at Sludge031. We're going to be closing out, guys. I think we should close out with Budapest. I think that is a really awesome song and people should really listen to it. So, yeah, guys, it's been Lost Boys. It's been Meagan. Who are you online before we close out?
Find me on Instagram at Lemon Dove Duo or at Meagan King.
That is awesome. And I'm at Zwane031. Guys, until next time, listen, Lost Boys, thank you so much for coming through and being on the show. Really appreciate you guys being here. It was a really awesome experience. And yeah, we hope this isn't the last time we're interacting with you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. So we're closing out with Budapest, guys. Until next time, it's bye for now.
I don't know why, Budapest. I don't know why, Budapest. You can lead me through the dark with just a whisper. And I know you, call me by name. I don't know why, Budapest. I don't know why, Budapest. You can lead me through the dark with just a whisper. And I know you, call me by name. Take me to the Thunder Horse. Ride it till the flames die out. Let's shift like the night wind. Within the sails on seas we've never seen. Hoist me up and blow me down. No, I haven't fully lost sight. Everything we started with, still what I'm called to. So try to win now. Lead me through the dark with just a whisper. And I know you. You can lead me through the dark with just a whisper. And I know you.